of the world.
Wow.
The moment it is lost, as it is being fought so much today, then the family has no stand. It has no solid ground on which to stand. And if there is no solid ground for the family to stand, where is the nation going to stand? Because there is no such thing as national values.
Yeah.
As much as they are family values.
Yeah.
So the family values easily translate into national values.
Yeah.
Now we are living in a world where the state is trying to impose certain values on the family.
Yeah.
For example, in Ghana, in the country where you are, I was watching a certain
It's a clip.
clip of an MP called Sam George.
Yeah.
And he was having a debate with a CNN reporter, some
Kenyan guy called Larry Madowo.
Larry Madowo.
Yes.
And I was very shocked that here is an Afro man. I do not like to use the word black.
Yeah.
Here is an Afro man really pushing for the agenda of homosexuality being legalized and accepted in Africa.
Yeah.
Now, let me first of all try and, what's the word I want to use, qualify my statement.
Yeah.
For as long as men have been on earth, there's been homosexuality. That doesn't mean it's been accepted. Even where it was not criminalized.
It's not mainstay. It's not something that you just do and you. That's why it's a debate. That's why it's a divisive idea.
So this is where the trick is. The
Yeah.
trick is to get people to see it as normal. And then accept it. In fact, you first treat it, you normalize it, then you tolerate it, then you accept it, then you legalize it, and then it's over.
Then it becomes culture.
But you see, the reason why we have survived in a culture like Africa is because we knew this was happening, but we also say that that is not the issue of our culture.
Yeah.
The main issue of our culture is that a man loves his wife and his children, and if that is going on, then that is something to deal with.
Yeah.
Maybe not kill him or throw him in jail. But again, if that's how that person has chosen to live, that does not mean that is how the rest of us.
It doesn't copy. It's not a copy and paste kind of a thing. I think one of these days
we
need
accept
to.
the person, but not the way he thinks.
Yeah. So I think one of these days we need to talk about the man and homosexuality. I think it's going to be a very interesting topic to cover.
That's if we're not censored.
Yeah, that's if we're not censored. But we need to be open. These are things that are happening in society.
But you see, as a political strategist, this is where I get confused at the neoliberal world.
Yeah.
You see how for all the energy that they spend fighting for freedom of speech, they are the most intolerant.
Yeah.
Of alternative opinions.
Yeah.
And again, what's interesting is that this is not an alternative opinion. This is the established opinion. It is theirs that is an alternative opinion. And imagine that the alternative narrative wants to become the main narrative. So as back to Sam George. Sam George says, guys, we have done tolerance study.
Yeah. People
tolerant with other religions, 70%, different tribes, 90%. Only 7% of Ghanaians were tolerant of homosexuality. So this was a research.
In the society structure, that is how it is.
They are saying that in this society, we actually, if you bring democracy means the majority voice.
Yeah.
So the majority voice is saying, we do not condone that.
Yeah.
And now here is a man, because he's in the press, saying, no, you're pushing the wrong thing. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
How did we get to this? How did me choosing water over poison become a wrong thing?
Yeah. And it's up to you, by the way, if you're listening, to fill up what poison is and what water is. That's really up to you. Yeah.
It's up to you. So here we are. Back to your question. Are there enough spaces? And I like to ask a question. Tell me the office in church where a hurting man can walk in and say, I need a hug, and he'll get a hug, no judgment passed.
Or maybe just a place where men can come and just be vulnerable one with another. And just open up.
Sometimes that's the bar.
Oh yeah, it's there. It's the bar.
It's the bar.
Or a sports pavilion somewhere and so on.
Talk about poison. So
My goodness.
So that is what Solid Jamaat is about.
Yeah. A place where not angels, but men, right? Men who have red hot blood flowing in their bones, in their veins,
yes.
Right? And at one point in time or another, they are going to have a problem, maybe with their manpower. Manpower, by the way, can be in very many ideas, right? Maybe even in bed, you're not able to please your wife. That's manpower.
I'll tell you an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I've always said this, that the amount of energy a man would spend to get laid, the amount of electrical energy moving in his brain, if you connected it to a transformer, you could light a village or a town.
It's that powerful. Yeah.
Napoleon conquered the whole of Europe. But
that one conquered him.
He conquered the whole of Europe to be worthy of Queen Josephine.
Wow.
You see, Queen Josephine was from a royal family and Napoleon was not.
Yeah.
So he went to bring the whole of Europe under her feet just to be worthy of her.
Wow. So the things that we do with our manpower, with our manhood, right? Cool. So anyway, at the end of the day, when push comes to shove, men need a place. Men need each other.
Men need men.
Men need men. A place where, if, like I was saying earlier on, if there is a problem with their manpower, their capacity, whether it's in bed, whether it's in class, whether it's in business,
men want to win.
Men want to win, but you don't win with a warped manpower. So how can, the Bible says, Proverbs 27, is it? As iron sharpens iron, so a man shall sharpen another man. So
I like the word that the New Living Translation says, a man sharpens his friend's countenance. Let us not take out that word.
Yeah.
Friendship.
Yeah. We can go on and on, and I know our time is running out. There's a big difference between the friendship that women have with each other as compared to what men have with each other, right? For the most part, you find that for the women, it's deeper. Those real ones, those pure ones, it's deeper, it's deliberate, it's cordial, it's consistent. For a man, it's once in a while, averagely. So anyway, if a man has a problem with that stuff, the manpower, the manhood, and the mandate of the man, that is what Solid Jamaat is all about. And I think in this podcast, every single week, that's what we'll be ironing. That's how we'll be airing out, inviting as many people as possible that we can be able to learn from them, glean from them, both men and women. I know there's a woman who needs their man to be tuned.
You see, back to our earlier conversation on personal hygiene.
Yeah.
You see, I do not think it's daddy to teach the boy about personal hygiene. Normally, that's where mom comes in and says, you're not supposed to smell like that. You're supposed to bathe. Your dad might not care as much if you bathe or not. It's mommy. So the conversation of manhood cannot just be had it cannot be had by men and we think that's how it is. So we have to be open to hear from women, and also for women to hear from us who need to better understand their husbands or boyfriends.
When you talk about husbands and wives, there's some things that the woman, your woman, would want you to know by yourself. She knows you need to know. She has the information, she has the data. But it's a little bit awkward, I don't know, for her to tell you that information. And she will desire that you will know that, So I think this is one of those forums that the women can unload. Yeah.
I like to think that women should normalize giving men lists.
Yeah, that's a stronghold, I can tell you. That's a stronghold. I've talked to very many men, and their wives or their girlfriends do not fancy the idea of lists. They
want men to figure it out.
They want, it's
Tinker.
romantic. It's romantic for you to figure out, for them. It's romantic for you to take her out, spontaneity, that's the thing. Just to be spontaneous. It's a bit romantic. That's the feedback I've gotten. But you see, for man, we need to be methodical at times. We need to know that Friday.
We need instruction.
Yeah. There's a paradox, but it's a conundrum here, because we need instructions, but they need spontaneity.
So anyway, we need instruction and need inspiration. That's it.
Yeah. So anyway, we will need to discuss all this stuff, and we'll maybe welcome as many people as possible into this podcast. And by the way,
how much more time do we have?
We are finishing, and also what we're gonna do is we can field questions, as many questions as possible, as guys who would like us to tackle some topics. We can leave the questions there on our Facebook page, Solid Jamaz, and also on our other handles on social media. And we'll get back to those topics and we'll discuss them. Maybe if you have someone that you want us to talk to, a resource person that you want us to bring in and have a discussion with them and so on. I think that this is what we need. And we're talking about men. We're also talking about women. So the resources being men and women at the same time. But at the end of the day, we are shaping ourselves as men. That our manpower, our mandate, and our manhood are tuned. It's like a three chords. What does that scripture say in Ecclesiastes?
A triple-corded rope is better than a two-corded one.
Yeah. So those chords, if you've played guitar, you know that it has to be tuned. If you have chords, if you have the guitar strings and they're out of tune, you can play it all you want, but it's not going to please anyone. And probably that's what we are doing without information, without knowledge, without these forums where men can have themselves tuned.
I'd like us to talk about kujengana.
Yeah,
talk about that.
So it's a Swahili word, because what we're doing with Solid Jamaz, we are talking about tujengane. Tujengane, the word tu is we. Jenga, it means build. So tujengane, it means let's build one another. Right? Because we have seen that the importance of men coming, if you stay alone, you don't have contact with a fellow man and so on and so forth. You can only know what you know. You're not exposed to another man. But so to jengane is let's come together, lock arms together, build one another. Probably you know something that I don't know. Probably I know something that you don't know, and so on.
Which is always the truth.
It's always the truth, right? And I've always said that you're always a sandwich, because you are here and there's someone who is actually better than you at all times. And then there's also going to be someone who is worse than you at all times. The worst is to gauge your life on the guy who is the worst, right? And you think that you've made it. Or gauge yourself on the guy who is better than you and think you can never get there. But you're always a sandwich. So this Solid Jamaz should provide the forum in which we can build one another to the degree of how hungry we are, how thirsty we are, how committed we are. And so at the end of the day, what is the vision? At the end of the day is to see a man of purpose, a man who is attuned to his own identity, who he is, really, and a man who has a mandate, and that mandate is transforming his world and maybe the world at the end of the day, right?
Because it starts with one man.
Yeah, so it starts, and John Maxwell says that everything rises and falls on leadership. And I know that if we can get ourselves fixed as men, I'm not saying that me and you who are hosting this show, we've got it all together.
Maybe that's why we're hosting the show, because we need help.
We've been talking about this thing. How many years now?
10 years.
This is 10 years down the line. We're saying, we need to do something about this. We need to do something about this. And you and I, we've gone in our separate ways at some point in time to try to get some kind of help. And you know that the help that we've gotten, help, I'm putting it in quotes, it's wanting. Yeah. Because you go to someone to help you, and the things that they're taking you through, maybe the things that are showing you, it's nothing novel, nothing that you don't know. It's the same old. I'm not saying that scriptures are wrong.
No, I have a thought.
Yeah.
When you go to a priest, a Catholic priest, who doesn't know anything about marriage, Why should you trust?